I'd like to call this notice of a special meeting of the Cunningham Town Board to order. It's November 23rd, 2020. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu?
Here.
Ms. Hersey? Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Roberts?
Here.
Mr. Colebrook?
Here.
Mr. Miller? Mayor Marlin?
Here.
Ms. Shanawith?
Present.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
And it looks like Jared Miller has joined the meeting as well.
I'm here, Phyllis.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is public participation. I wanted to read the rules for public participation. The rules are listed on each agenda for city-sponsored meetings. Members of the public may join the meetings either as a Zoom webinar participant, a telephone participant to make verbal input. They also may submit comments via email through the close of the meeting record, which is the end when we adjourn. This is a time for the board members to listen to the public. So discussion, debate, commentary won't take place during this period. Public comments are limited to 4 minutes per person. Public input will total no more than 1 hour unless shortened or extended by a majority vote of the members present. The meeting chair has the option of giving priority to speakers who want to comment on specific agenda items upon which a vote will be taken. A person can speak once during the meeting and may not cede time to another person. We ask that you address your comments to the public body as a whole, maintain respect for the process, respect for members of the board, city staff, and general public. The meeting chair or member of the public body has the authority to call a speaker out of order for using abusive, harassing, threatening, or defamatory remarks. If the speaker refuses to cease the remarks, the meeting chair may mute the speaker's microphone and will ask the speaker to send the remainder of their remarks via email for inclusion in the meeting record, which closes at adjournment. I want to thank you for helping us conduct respectful and productive meetings. Does anyone wish to address the Cunningham Town Board? Please raise your hand. Okay. Seeing no hand raised, we'll go on to the new business item, which is resolution number T 2020-11-024R, a resolution determining the amounts of money necessary to be raised by the tax levy for tax year 2020, collectible in 2021. Danielle?
Yes, I have a migraine this evening, so I've asked Wayne if he could speak to the issue, but I'm here to answer any questions that folks have.
Sorry to hear that.
So this is a resolution to determine the amount necessary. This is what we're going to publish in the paper. This is required by the Truth in Taxation law that we determine how much we need to levy for property taxes and publish it in the paper. This levy, while it seems to be a large increase, it reflects the tax increase that was recently passed by the voters of Cunningham Township in this past election, as well as in the case that the Carl and OSF properties come on the books, additional money is levied, so we can capture that.
Any questions for Wayne? Mary Alice.
So I think in the past what we've done is we've had two different ones listed. One if the Carl properties come back on the tax rolls and one if they don't. How is it indicated here if the Carl properties don't come back on?
Well, we haven't done that in a township tax levy. Maybe you have in the city, but not in the township. And it's important to note that as a home rule municipality, the city is actually not tax capped like the township is. So that's maybe why you did that for the city.
So in layman's terms, we're talking about the estimate of $2.3 million to be levied for the tax year.
Yeah, if the Carl properties don't come on, with the growth that we have, I estimate if they don't come on that we'll only be able to extend about 2.1 million because of the cap that is now 0.3015.
Okay.
Bill Brown?
I'm looking at the memo from August when we decided to put the referendum on the ballot, and there it said that the projected would be 1,799,000, so 1.8 basically, if the levy or if the referendum passed. So what's the discrepancy between the 1.8 and the 2.1?
Growth in EAV.
What is it?
Growth in equalize assessed value.
We got
Yeah.
15% growth.
I'm sorry.
15% growth. That's great.
Well, it's all, with the board review right now, but I mean, we had quite a bit of growth in our EAV. It's still an estimate because what happens is because of TIF and enterprise zone, some of that gets abated and stuck in the TIF. So, I mean, we won't be able to levy over the rate that is set by the referendum.
Yeah. Okay.
So if we levy to the maximum, I still expect it to be about $31 than it otherwise would have been for the year. For a $100,000 home. Any more questions?
Yeah, I would.
Dennis?
So what you're saying is basically you're going to levy for the larger amount possible with the expectation that there might be reductions.
Yes, that's our standard process each year. So as you'll see with Public Health Department, we recently put forward a levy that assumed the highest level to capture both growth and Carl, and then essentially we're capped by the clerk's office during the extension process. And so last year, we extended a levy that was higher than we anticipated, just in case Carl came back on the tax rolls, and also to capture all of the anticipated growth. But essentially, just in layman's or layperson's terms, essentially what we put forward is a levy that represents what the voters approved for at 61% of voters approved this increase. And then, I mean, frankly, we could put an enormous number on this tax levy and we will basically automatically be capped. So it kind of doesn't, it matters only if we put a number forward that is too small, but it actually doesn't matter if we put a number forward that's too large, because it's a mathematical formula that will determine our tax levy for next year.
Yeah, I mean, you can set it at 50 million. We're not going to get it. It'll be capped. There's a taxing district, and I'm sorry, and I'll get you the name later this week, but there's a taxing district that routinely levies $1 million and only is able to extend 50,000 because of tax caps.
Yeah. Well, of course, we appreciate the fact that the voters support the township's projects and have allowed them, the township and the board, to collect a little bit more for those services to benefit the community.
Yeah, we are super appreciative of the voters of Urbana. And we really appreciate the confidence that the board and the voters put in our work. And frankly, we're going to have a lot of work to do in 2021 and 2022. I feel like the worst is yet to come in terms of what we're going to experience. And we are really trying to prepare ourselves organizationally in terms of our facilities and our staff and our infrastructure to really take on, what we expect to be some difficult times ahead. And that difficult times it's gonna feel different for different people. So for example, we just had a coat and hat drive where we had 200 coats and 100 pairs of mittens on Sunday. And we were supposed to have that drive available for 2 hours outside the co-op. And we didn't do a call through with our participants. We just didn't have capacity. And all of the materials, all of the coats and mittens were gone in the first 45 minutes. And we had almost 20 families show up without, we didn't have anything left for them. So I feel like we're in this time where people are going to experience the pandemic and its kind of ripple effect economically in very different ways. And we're really trying to prepare Urbana. We appreciate that the halves of Urbana have basically spoken and said, yes, you can have $30 of my income, or $60 as it may be, or 65 additional dollars. And we want to make sure that our neighbors are taken care of. So we are preparing to, make sure that happens.
Absolutely. Any other questions on the tax levy? And then we'll need a motion to get the item on the floor. Okay. Does anyone like to provide a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll move resolution number T 2020-11-024R, a resolution determining the amounts of money necessary to be raised by the tax levy for the year 2020 to be collectible in 2021 be approved.
I'll second that then.
Moved by Jared, seconded by Dennis. Is there further discussion? Bill Brown.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by the margin on the vote. I think close to 70% of the people in my ward supported the tax increase. But I've lived in Urbana for 25 years, and before that I lived in Champaign for about 15 years. And I know there's perceived differences between the cities, but the people I knew in Champaign really weren't that much different from the people in Urbana. So I'm a little confused why Champaign's tax for their township is only 4 cents and ours is going to be 30 cents. I think if the people of Champaign were given the opportunity, they would probably be as likely to support an increase to help fill in the gaps and provide more of a safety net for the homeless population and the people that don't have access to the resources they need. So, maybe I hope that this vote in Urbana will help show the people in Champaign that if they ask for the money, maybe they could get it.
I completely agree with you, Bill. And I was hopeful that Champaign would put a referendum on the ballot as well. I tried to pursue this jointly between both supervisors. We worked very closely together. Andy was very supportive of a levy increase because, frankly, Champaign, because they, essentially voted years ago to eliminate their township levy, and then were sued under a class action law or a group lawsuit, or it was Land of Lincoln sued pretty much all the townships in the area except for Cunningham Township. They had to restore that levy. Champaign has voted down once a referendum. It was a number of years ago to increase the levy for township. But I do think that the situation is different. And frankly, I think they would have been able to pass it this year. And I would encourage you all to talk to your colleagues across Wright Street, because it was the city council members who felt that it was not the right time. And I think it's unfortunate. And I think some additional advocacy and work is needed. And I do think a future vote could be favorable. And that township really needs additional dollars. So I totally agree with you. It's just we're not in control of Champaign. But I just want to second your thoughts, Bill.
Any other comments? Okay. All right. Sharice, are you able to, can you unmute and let's test your microphone? Sharice is having video problems. Possibly having audio. Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can't see anything. The picture's not coming up. I can only, and I don't even know how to mute this back when I need to.
Okay. All right, we'll take the vote. Will the clerk
Okay.
please call the roll?
I have to put this on. Yes.
Ms. Wu,
Yes.
Ms. Hersey,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Colebrook,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
That motion passes. The other item on the agenda is a closed session. And I will need a motion and a second, and we'll vote to go into closed session. And this is to discuss the purchase or lease of real estate pursuant to Section 5 ILCS 120/2C5, or to discuss pending or imminent litigation pursuant to Section 5 ILCS 120/2C11. So I'll entertain a motion.
This is Fred. I want to say something here.
Yes.
For the motion to have a closed session to discuss imminent litigation, you need to have a finding by the board that there is litigation that's probable or imminent. You can just add that to the motion. Then in the closed session, you need to show on the record the reason that litigation is probable, and Wayne can explain that in the meeting, the reason he asked for the closed meeting, and that would go in the minutes of the closed session. So you can just add the board making a finding that there is probable litigation.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Dennis? Made by Dennis to discuss pending, probable, or imminent litigation. By Mary Alice, seconded it. All right, will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu,
Yes.
Ms. Hersey,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Colebrook,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
That motion passes. So you'll need to leave this Zoom meeting completely, and you should have an email in your inbox that the subject is closed session, and the link for the closed session meeting will be there.
Before you go, was that motion including the lease of real estate? I didn't hear if there was a vote on that or if it was all combined into one motion.
It was combined in one motion as the mayor read it originally.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, so we will leave this Zoom meeting. We are back in open session, and there's no further business before this meeting, so I'll take a motion for, we need a vote to come out of closed session. Bill, would you like to make that motion?
Yeah, I move to return to open session.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Bill Brown, seconded by Mary Alice. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu,
Yes.
Ms. Hersey, Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Colebrook,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
That motion passes. So we're out of closed session, and with no further business before the town board, this meeting is adjourned.